This Stanley Cup Final and NBA Finals with Jay Bilas edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Edge Boost, the bank account built for better. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN and get a free Refs Are Terrorists t-shirt. Claim your shirt at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/refs. We're also brought to you by Naira Bets. Get your $25 free bet for the Belmont by going to nyrabets.com/SGPN25. Promo code SGPN25.
Hey, what's up, you degenerate gamblers? This is Bill Burr, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog.
Summertime, Sean.
Summertime is here.
It's official.
Yes, we got.
I got two dogs, or a dog and two helmets on the screen with me now.
Yes, it's a great look.
Yes.
Slight redesign on the set there. We had to make way last night. We did our first ever pack break with our buddy Matt from DAP Sports. That was a lot of fun. If you missed it, go back and check out that episode. The raw energy and excitement of unwrapping a couple cards that are worth a decent chunk of change, Ryan. So the sweat was fun. The live action was fun. Go back and check it out if you missed it. But good times there.
Yeah, decent feedback. No, I'm just saying.
Doing a great job selling it.
No, I was.
Many were saying it was decent.
Well, surprised at how many people went out of their way to send me messages via text, DM, whatever, to say that was a good episode.
Oh well, then see that's good feedback.
Usually
right?
those are just the UFL.
Well, you could upgrade it past decent to good. Yeah, decent isn't. I know you're not a professional marketer, Ryan, but decent isn't
Decent's
moving the
not
needle.
good.
No.
Oh, okay.
When have you ever said? Okay, if your wife cooks you a meal and you go decent,
It was decent of those people to give me feedback.
So I tried telling your wife, decent cooking. See how that goes. And yeah, everyone is chiming in. More pack breaks for sure. We will have.
We'll see.
Daps and back and ripping some packs. That was a lot of fun. Ron, we got an awesome show because we got we will be talking to Terrell Furman and Scott Reichel talking NBA Finals from the NBA Gambling Podcast, and we have Jay Bilas, friend of the program, talking NBA Finals, a little college basketball, a little celebrity golf in there as well. But starting right around the corner, we have the Stanley Cup. And of course, we're doing a giveaway, always hooking you guys up. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Stanley Cup, giving away a free NHL jersey, $100 gift card for first and $100 gift card for second. So $200 in gift cards and a jersey of your choice. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Stanley Cup to go grab that. Joining us on the line from the Hockey Gambling Podcast, Mr. Ryan Gilbert. Gilbert, thanks for hopping on, man. It seems like the puckheads are jonesing. You were complaining before we got this that what five days no hockey. You must be. How are you getting through these tough times?
I mean, it's been tough. Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I know hockey sometimes, people don't know about it, but yeah, Hockey Gambling Podcast. Make sure you check that out. Yeah, this is the fifth day now without playoff hockey. I'm starting to go crazy, but that's why I'm even happier to be on here talking about some Stanley Cup Final. We have our Hockey Gambling Podcast Stanley Cup Final full preview tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys check that out as well. But yeah, very excited for this Stanley Cup Final to get started.
Yeah, and of course, great catchphrase. Let it slide. Love that.
And Canada's back.
Yeah, Canada is back.
Maybe.
Well,
they gotta
we'll
take down mighty Florida.
Florida, they're running it back. We got the Florida Panthers versus the Edmonton Oilers. We'll start big picture here. What do you like for the series? How many games? Any fun props we can get on? Are you sweating out the Conn Smythe? You guys are the experts. We leave it up to you. We don't talk hockey unless you're on. So you have the puck is in your crease. What do you like for the Stanley Cup here, Gilbert?
Yeah, once again here. I mean, two hockey hotbeds. You got Florida back in there again, Edmonton back in it once again, a rematch. And I mean, you look at the series prices. Oilers have gotten some money up to -120. The Panthers even money, but this is a pick 'em. This should be another great series. I mean, we saw last year Panthers go up 3-0. We're like, all right, gonna sweep, but Oilers forced Game 7, and now this time around, it really looks like the Oilers are all business. Didn't really celebrate winning the conference too much. So should be another great Stanley Cup final here. I am sweating out a bunch of Panthers Conn Smythe bets. I have some Bobrovsky, a lot of Barkov. I don't have much Oilers yet. And every time I go to talk myself into, all right, let me put some Oilers. Let me hedge a little bit. I know that's a bad word here, but let me guarantee some profit.
Monetize your bet is the euphemism people like.
Let me optimize my portfolio here. Every time I go to optimize my portfolio, I just keep thinking about the Panthers' depth. Like last year, they were so good, and this year they were just coasting through the regular season. Happened to add Seth Jones at the deadline. He's really shored up the right side of their defense, and then added Brad Marchand, the former Bruin, who has tormented the Leafs, tormented the Panthers in the past, but he's playing on the third line for the Panthers, and the Panthers just have three real dominant lines: Barkov on the top one, Bennett and Kachuk on the second one, and then Lundell, Marchand, and Luosterainen on the third one there. So if you're looking to come into this series with a bet, I would have to go with the Panthers. If you want to, longer odds, maybe look for like a Panthers in 6 bet. I think that's around +450, because I think, the Oilers are going to win a few games here. I have seen over 5.5 games around -210. I like that quite a bit. It's as high as -250. So make sure you shop around for that. But I'm seeing a long series, and I think the Panthers will pull it out again. I think this is going to be one of the teams we look back on as a modern dynasty here with all their depth. Bobrovsky in goal, should have kept in Philly, but
I was Bobrovsky. That was like a guy I knew back in the day, 2010, 2011, 2012. And then again, I'm a hockey casual. It's completely off my radar. And then when he, now all of a sudden he's winning Stanley Cups. Why did we get rid of him in the first place?
Is that when Howie was in the closet?
That was. They need a Howie Roseman managing the Flyers. We got Mitchkoff, and it seems like that's about it. But Bobrovsky, what happened to Bobrovsky? He went to Columbus for a while and then Florida.
Yeah, Flyers gave up on him. They went with Brizgalov instead, and Bobrovsky went on to win a few Vezinas, a Stanley Cup. He's the Conn Smythe Trophy favorite for the Panthers, which I disagree with. I think Barkov is the much better bet. If you're looking to bet the Panthers for the series, I would recommend Alexander Barkov +550 for the Conn Smythe. Odds should be a lot lower, around that +250 where Bobrovsky is. He's, won the Selke Trophy yesterday as the best defensive forward in the league. Voters love him, and he's leading the Panthers in points. So he's really doing it all. He's going to go head to head with McDavid. And I think if he, is able to limit McDavid, if the Panthers are able to lift the cup again, I think Barkov should get a ton of that credit.
I mean, Canada losing again. We need to go back to the conference, the championship. So I need a more expert analysis of the touching of the trophy with the Oilers. Was this purely to reverse what they did last year?
As a gambler, I like it. Now they touched the trophy. There were some hilarious videos I saw on social media of fans going, "No, damn it, fuck, don't touch it." And I think we were talking to this with CJ, where
grown men just acting like
women
children.
like shrieking about them touching the cup. But you didn't touch the cup last year. You lost. Now you're playing the same team. My lucky shirt is my lucky shirt until the Eagles lose. Then I wash it and I pick a new shirt. As a gambler, I like the strategy, but how's the hockey community reacting to it, Gilbert?
I mean, yeah, these hockey players are very superstitious. You see the players wearing the same suit into the game if they're still
Yeah.
winning, if they're on a winning streak there. I think you've seen that from McDavid, seen it from Marchand. I saw a stat recently that since our beloved Eric Lindros, I think he didn't touch
Oh
it
yeah.
in '97. Like teams that touch it do better than teams that don't touch it. So it's just like
Yeah.
but also maybe teams that touch it are confident about it. Like, all right, we're going to take this, we're going to touch this, and then we're going to touch the cup. So maybe if you're in a touchy mood, you're more confident and able to win there. But yeah, just superstitious. I think that happens with all sports, but hockey has some weird ones there, especially goalies.
Yeah, they get in their own head a ton. So you like Florida, in and the over. So probably what, Panthers in 6 officially.
Yeah, I think if I had to go with the correct score bet, it would be Panthers in 6. You can probably get that around plus 450. If you like the Oilers, I think they could get it done in 7, but I think it's going to be a long series either way.
Yeah, CJ, aka
Oh.
our man in the box friend, talked me into Oilers in 6. So that's what I'm doing. The idea that Canada is due. But Gilbert here making some good points on the Panthers. If the Oilers were to pull it out, are there players on the Oilers side that you think are worth taking a shot at the Conn Smythe, or is it's got to be McDavid?
I think it has to be McDavid. McDavid's
Yeah.
at plus 110. Oilers are minus 120 for the series. So you can get 30 cents of value there just by taking McDavid. Leon Draisaitl odds are shortening. He's plus 750, around 10-1 at some books. But McDavid has more points this year, but Draisaitl is healthy. Draisaitl was not really fully healthy for last year's Stanley Cup Final. Only had 3 assists, no goals there. So he's going to be hungry. I do see a path for him, but McDavid has just been there for every big moment, every dagger that the Oilers have scored so far. It's his team. And after winning it last year, winning the Conn Smythe in a losing effort, I think if the Oilers win the Stanley Cup, they'll have to give it to McDavid in a winning effort.
Now you mentioned
you can still find McDavid to have the most points in the series at plus 140. Sean, you remember on Friday when we were discussing that it was plus 170. So
yeah, our buddy Scott hit us up with some stuff on VSiN. He liked the McDavid to lead the Stanley Cup in points at plus 170. That's already shown some CLV. Now Gilbert, you said you had Bobrovsky. Conn Smythe, what did you get that number at, and what is it currently sitting at? Because I imagine if you got that early enough, you're probably looking pretty good.
Yeah, I got that in my portfolio pretty early in the playoffs. I got it at 22-1. So I'm sitting pretty if he wins it. He's down to plus 250 now, but I also did add some Barkov at like 15-1. So I have plenty of Panthers quote unquote long shots for the Conn Smythe. So that is what I'm trying to hope comes through for me there. And yeah, that McDavid to lead the series in points, I think, is a slam dunk bet. Even I'm seeing it's plus 130 here. I think that should be
nice.
Anything at plus money on that. Last year he had 11 points in the playoffs or in the series, and the second most was 7. So he had 4 points clear of Evan Rodriguez. He has more 2-point games in the playoffs than games where he doesn't have a point. So when he goes off big time. And as I see in the chat here, yes, the Oilers do have home ice advantage, and that is going to be huge for the matchups for Knobloch there behind the bench. The one thing with the Oilers holding me up a little bit is the injury to Zach Hyman. Hyman last year scored 50 goals. This year in the playoffs, he was an absolute wrecking ball, had like 100 hits through the first few series, was on pace to break the record by far. And he's out now. And he's been a huge part of every one of their lines that is driving play. All their forechecking stuff. So we'll see how the Oilers manage without him. I think that is a huge hit to their depth. So that's why I'm going with the Cats down there.
What about any plays for game 1? Of course, facing off here Wednesday night, 5:00 on the West Coast here. What do you like for game 1?
Yeah, looking at game 1, I mean, Oilers favored. I like the Panthers for the series. So, I kind of like the Panthers in game 1 at plus 110 plus odds. I think that might be the way to just play this series, is play it game by game and take the underdog every game and get the plus odds, because this should be a zigzag type series. I don't see either team going up 3-0 again like the Panthers did last year. And I like the over 6.5 at plus 105. Both of these power plays are pretty good. See a lot of penalties called early on. And last year, I think 5 or 6 of the games ended up going over the total there. So I think see a high scoring series early on before things maybe settle down a little bit later.
And the hockey question that's on everyone's mind is Oilers girl still around? She swept through social media last year. I feel like I haven't heard from her.
It's like
but
Kaiser Sose just disappeared.
Did she fall off the grid? Is there a new Oilers girl? Is there a Florida girl? There probably are a lot of Florida girls, but any update on Oilers girl? Will she be attending the Stanley Cup?
I'm sure there are some Florida girls. I did see an Oilers girl in the background of one of their pictures. I saw that floating around social media. So maybe there's a new one. Maybe the old one only comes out for the Stanley Cup Final now. We'll have to keep you guys abreast of that situation.
Oh, nice use.
I mean, this is right there, Ryan. And Oilers, the cans, the oil cans. There's a lot to work with. Kramer, do you want to toss out any hockey plays?
Well, I have a couple more. I was going to thread in some comments. One, sure. I'm seeing some specials out there. Connor McDavid to break Wayne Gretzky's Stanley Cup Final points record, which would mean 14. Of course, you knew that, Sean.
Yep.
Plus 650 for him to get 14. What do you think? Is that crazy, Gilbert?
It's not loving it. It's not crazy. He did have 11 points last year in the Stanley Cup Final, and I think he only had maybe a point or two in the first 2 games. So now that they have home ice advantage, they have 4 games guaranteed at home if it goes to 7. Plus 650. I think that's shorter than it should be, but it's not worth maybe worth a little sprinkle here and there if you're looking for a fun series long bet.
I think so. I was. Full disclosure, I was accosted in the studio. I was trying to get wedged right between the Sean and CJ continued beef, as I was almost forced into a Edmonton and 6 bet for a paper.
That's
ticket.
what I'm in on. Yeah.
Nope. I'm gonna stick with the points leader and I'm gonna root for Canada.
All right, so you're going to root for Canada, but you want McDavid points leader.
Yes, as a property owner in Florida, I'm going to root against the Panthers.
There you go.
Yeah.
And of course, Gilbert, thanks for hopping on. And of course, make sure everyone, you puckheads, subscribe to the Hockey Gambling Podcast.
Get in the Discord too.
The Discord is our most active, most fun Discord channel on the network. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Click in on the hockey. And make sure you tune in to him and Joel breaking down all the games, all the action. Hockey Gambling Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and get in for your free chance to win a jersey. It's basically, picking the winner, some props, and a couple other things there. Jersey and a couple $100 in gift cards. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Stanley Cup. Gilbert, appreciate you hopping on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And let it slide.
Just nailed it. Perfect. Great work there by Gilbert. It's always great having him on, Ryan. It's always great talking hockey, and just hearing Let It Slide is just awesome. Of course, reminder, we're brought to you by Edge Boost. It's the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. Love my Edge Boost card. Cannot wait till the first of the month when that Edge Boost bonus hits. You earn cashback rewards, 100% approval for all betting deposits. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with the promo code SGP. And if you sign up this week, you'll get a free Refs Are Terrorists t-shirt. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/refs to claim your free t-shirt. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Love Underdog Fantasy, the pick'em. So much fun. Kramer and I have been cranking out our best ball drafts. Underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN. Get a deposit match up to $1,000. They have the extender. Each game of the NBA Finals, the boosts go up. I already got my first boost in with the Underdog Fantasy. Of course, I went to higher. TJ McConnell rebounds and assists 5.5, still a good price. I didn't know this. TJ McConnell's sister just got signed in the WNBA, so shout out to her.
Nice.
And
is that the first brother sister tandem actively playing together?
Well, yeah, I don't know what the Cheryl Miller or Reggie Miller. I don't know if they played at the same time or if the WNBA was even active.
Great call. Yeah, I mean, definitely probably was.
Okay, so we'll look into that.
How dare you not know that?
When did the WNBA start?
80s?
Tough guy. WNBA? No. All right, Underdog Fantasy promo code SGPN.
We'll come back to this later. We're having the WNBA guys on later,
and we are doing our Belmont episode tomorrow. You can bet the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga with Naira Bets. Sign up today using the promo code SGPN25 and get a $25 free bet plus a $200 deposit match bonus. Whether your season better or just getting started, NYRA Bets makes it easy to jump into the action. The exclusive offer is just for the Belmont Stakes, so claim it now. Free $25 Belmont bet today at nyrabets.com/SGPN25. Joining us on the line from ESPN and the American Century Championship, Mr. Jay Bilas. Jay, thanks for hopping on. I mean, big news in the association. Tom Thibodeau fired. What is your reaction?
Surprised. I thought Tom Thibodeau did a great job with the Knicks. So similar to when Michael Malone was fired by the Nuggets, I'm kind of shocked, honestly. Get to the Eastern Conference Finals and have a great season, and this is what you get. It's just sort of the way of the world. It's maybe I shouldn't be surprised. That's probably the right answer.
The bar has been moved, and funny enough, I'm seeing Malone as one of the potential next man up. But I mean, we obviously have to talk about it. The Nova Knicks would only be fitted to be coached by Jay Wright. Any chance he comes away from the desk to coach in the Garden?
I guess there's always a chance. I don't particularly see it happening. Jay's really happy doing what he's doing now. And he left coaching for a reason, but you never know. He's a great coach, but whether it's Michael Malone or Jay Wright or whomever, the Knicks are trading a great coach for another great coach. I mean, it's just where we are, I guess, in sports now, where you can be that successful and still get a pink slip. At my age, maybe I remember a time where that wasn't the case, but this is the case now.
No, it's crazy. And just go back to game one, like that shot that Halliburton put up, that shot up into the sky, and someone who was sweating out the Pacers. It was a crazy ride. Then it goes to overtime. They win in overtime. If that just goes like 1 inch to the right, hits off the rim, ricochets, they win game one. Maybe they win this series, and maybe he still has his job. I imagine if he goes to the finals, they don't let him go, right?
I would think not, but Crazy. Who knows? I think the same thing, whether it was Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals. The Knicks were a couple plays away from being 2-2 going into Game 5, and maybe it's a different series then. But look, we saw the top seeds go down. Boston lost to the Knicks, and you saw Cleveland go down. So I don't want to say it's a crapshoot because it's not. But at the same time, a lot of these teams are really good, and being healthy and playing well at the right time is a big key. But I just find it kind of mind-boggling that a coach the caliber of Tom Thibodeau is out of a job now after the season he had and after the job he's done with New York.
No, and even the Malone firing. I was trying to rack my brain of when they were like a 3 or 4 seed with like 3 games left and they let him go, which was, I thought, crazy. But then the interim head coach comes in and does a pretty good job. They get the Oklahoma City Thunder to 7 games, so maybe that was the right move. I would have let it ride out to the end of the season at least. I think especially Mike Maloney, won a championship. Like, what happened to at least giving the coach the end of the season who won a title? That to me was pretty shocking.
Yeah, but then when you look back at it, they let Michael Malone and Calvin Booth, the GM, go at the same time.
Yeah.
And so that was maybe a little bit different in that clearly management and the coaching staff weren't seeing eye to eye on the way things should be done. And I actually did the first game for Denver after Malone got fired. I had just left the Final Four. I was flying to Sacramento for Kings Nuggets. And I think there were, if I remember right, there were 3 games remaining in the regular season. Yeah. And Denver won all 3 of those to stay out of the play-in and all that. And it was the weirdest vibe that you'd think that, I was like, holy cow, like, how do you do that? Similar to what you were saying. But, Josh Kroenke of ownership, I think, was pretty clear that they wanted to change the vibe of the team going into the playoffs to give them the best chance to win. And they did well. David Adelman did a great job, and obviously they think so too, because they made him
they
permanent head coach.
Yeah.
I don't know what permanent means anymore in the NBA or college or all that. Everything's interim. Everyone should be called interim coach now. But that was a little bit different. But I think when you got media questions after the Knicks lost to the Pacers, and they were directly, I think Jalen Brunson was asked about Thibodeau, and you're like, I'm sure there were some people maybe from my generation going, well, it seems kind of inappropriate. Why are you asking that? But it turns out it wasn't. That it was the right question to ask at that time.
Now let's talk finals. The NBA finals tipping off there on Thursday. We got Oklahoma City, massive favorite, maybe rightly so. You look at the advanced stuff, but Indianapolis, the Pacers, since like the calendar turned to a new year, they've kind of been a new team. They've been a dog every series, and they just keep coming out swinging. They're a 5-1 underdog in the finals. Now you'd have to go back to like 2004 Pistons for that big of an underdog to come out and win it. Do the Pacers have a shot? Is it going to be a bloodbath? How do you see this series shaking out?
No, the Pacers have a shot. Like Indiana's good. I think both teams rely a lot on their defense. Their defenses are different. Indiana picks up more 94 feet, and they're going to make it difficult on you in a full court perspective. They've got a lot of bodies to throw at you. I think the difference. So really one of the things that's going to be important for Indiana is to get into kind of a flow game where they're passing ahead. They can play at times ahead of the Oklahoma City defense. So they're not grinding it out all game. And if you think you're going to, do something off your dribble or do something in isolation against Oklahoma City, I would caution that.
Good luck.
Because they rally to the ball as well as any team that I can remember. And, they go for steals. They're great in pick and roll defense. They've got a lot of versatile defenders. They're long armed, and they're unbelievably active and physical. Like, I think their ball pressure combined with their rotations and their closeouts are truly elite, and they can take you out of what you're doing. And, Minnesota found that, they wound up turning the ball over too much. And at times when you're trying to make some sort of dribble move against that defense, you're going to get a second defender coming at you, and they're coming over to take the ball from you. They're not coming over just to show help. They give it. And so I favor Oklahoma City, but it's primarily based upon their defense and the way the games are being called.
Yeah,
like the games are much more physical than the regular season. I mean, I think I don't know the exact number to put on it, but they seem like they're twice as physical. And I think that gives Oklahoma City an advantage in that regard. And having guys like Alex Caruso coming in and Lou Dort, who's an all NBA defensive team member.
The Dortcher Chamber, all-time great nickname too for Lou Dort.
It's a great nickname. But they're legit. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been spectacular all season long. He's been great in the playoffs. He knows how to get into your body, to get fouled, and it's not just that. I mean, he without free throws, he'd be leading the playoffs in scoring.
Yeah, no, it's great. They're on a great run.
It's amazing how defense is the differentiator in the NBA once again.
Well, yeah, as old guy, as old guys were like, I remember defense and blah blah blah. You turn it on, you're like, oh, okay. I mean, Kramer was saying they're running around, they're picking up guys, they're like closing out.
It's just refreshing to see the team with effort and energy actually winning games.
Now, what about?
Yeah, well, one last thing. So the guys that played in the 80s and 90s can be quiet now because the game is just as physical in the playoffs this year as it was when they played. So we can stop all this stuff about, boy, when I played, we had to, both ways were uphill and we had to run through 15 guys. We can leave that alone. These guys are playing just as physical as they did.
But what about Carlisle? I thought Carlisle has coached a very good playoffs. He gets a lot of praise, rightly so. Does he have a trick up his sleeve? And I would also say this: is there a role player? Oftentimes we see a series like a role player emerges, that it's a good matchup or whatever, that ends up making a difference in the series. If Indiana shocks the world and wins this finals, obviously Halliburton and Siakam, you would imagine have to play well, but is there a role player that maybe Carlisle can take advantage of because he plays a deep bench that maybe has, helps push them over?
That's kind of the beauty to me of Indiana's roster is it can be a different player in a different game. So Aaron Nesmith is one of the best shooters.
Yeah.
And you saw, you guys saw what he did, late against the Knicks and that ridiculous comeback they had.
Insane.
And they have guys off the bench that come in and play roles and can have, whether it's Ben Mathurin, he had 20 points in 18 minutes in one of those games. And TJ McConnell comes in and changes the vibe. He picks up full court. He's in great shape, and he's going to go after you. So, people do say, hey, the role players are the ones that determine this as long as the stars play like stars. But I think it's going to be really interesting to see if Tyrese Halliburton can do well against the physical defenders that he's going to face against Oklahoma City. I mean, he's going to have relentless pressure on him for 48 minutes, and it's not just going to be one guy. He's going to be seeing a number of guys, and then they protect Oklahoma City protects the rim really well. Chet Holmgren's their best shot blocker, but Isaiah Hartenstein is big and strong, and he protects the rim. They rebound well. Like Sam Presti, I know he gets a lot of credit, but he should probably get even more. The way not only he's put this team together, but the way he's handled things ever since he became GM with Oklahoma City. He's not afraid to make a trade. And then he's got so many draft assets now, even as these guys are getting into Supermax territory and they're getting all defensive team and all NBA, that's going to command a lot more money. He's got so many draft assets. He can retool the team, and he's not afraid to pull the trigger on a tough trade.
And the ratings police will be like, oh, too small markets, no one's going to watch. As a basketball fan, I think this is great. I also think it's great for the league because these teams put together teams not by tanking, but by, just drafting good players, developing the players. Oklahoma City unloaded, Paul Pierce there, and then they got SGA, who was after his pretty good rookie year. No one thought he was going to be MVP of, 5 years later. And then they just slowly got better and better and better. They're not quote unquote a free agent destination. And the same thing with the Pacers. So I think it's good for the league because there's so much conversation of like, you have to be in a big market. You have to have a top 3 pick.
This is the first finals ever without team from the luxury tax. So
yeah. So
to the Sanchez, Presti, and even the Pacers team building, right? It's maybe this brings us back to a time where you develop. Although the firing of the coaches every 12 months kind of hurts that.
That certainly does.
But you guys are right. Like when you say develop, I mean, part of it to me is patience.
Yeah.
That these teams have had a coaching staff in place. They've had their front office in place. They've done really good jobs, and I think you're right on the rating side. Like, I'm sure if you put, network executives under truth serum, they'd probably say, well, for the ratings, it'd be better to have the Lakers or Golden State or the Knicks, things like that for the big markets. But at the same time, you had better have, like one of the things I thought is like, Oklahoma City during regular season wasn't covered enough.
No.
And like, they're not going anywhere. Yeah. And they're going to be around for a long time. And people need to know it, and they need to know what everybody thinks of them. So having them front and center, I think I agree with you. I think it's really good for the league. And look, whoever wins. It doesn't matter. But I do think it's good for the league because Oklahoma City's been the best team all year. I mean, they won 68 games. That doesn't happen by accident.
No, you also have like the meeting of two of the more college atmospheres in pro basketball as well. Yeah, everyone buys into wearing T-shirts. Yeah, and doing
the crowd's
cheers
going nuts. Well, and speaking of college basketball, we got to get your take on this. They're considering expanding March Madness to either 72 or 76 teams. Now, I look at it and I go, the tournament as constructed right now to me is perfect. It's a great tournament, but I know if they added 12, 8, however many teams, and those teams are playing games, I'd be watching them and I'd be betting on them. So maybe I'm the hypocrite and maybe I'm part of the problem. If they gave us extra games and extra teams, Jay, I'm not going, Ryan, turn off that TV. I don't want to watch the extra March Madness games. I would watch, but what do you think? Should they do it? Is it going to happen? Where are you at with it?
I think it is going to happen because the people that run college sports have fallen into this idea that, the tournament is the biggest property in basketball.
Yeah.
And they play so many bowl games that are meaningless and people still watch them.
Yeah.
So, and in their limited defense here, like, I'm not in favor of expansion because I think at some point you're gonna take away from the regular season. And I think we've reached that point now where we start adding and we're going to start really diminishing the regular season, where you don't want it to be everybody gets in. It's not the Indiana high school basketball tournament where everybody gets to play, because that diminishes the regular season.
Yeah,
it diminishes championship week and all those things that people actually watch and pay attention to. But in their limited defense, every time the tournament has expanded. When I was a kid, it was 32 teams.
Yep.
And I played my first year it was the first time I played in the tournament. We had a bye. It wasn't. We played in the 54 team tournament, and I played in the first 64 team field in 1985. That was the first time. And then it went to 68. We had these, games in Dayton, whatever they call them now. That don't call
first
them a
four. Yeah,
first four.
It's so annoying.
Makes no sense.
And as someone who fills these out, you call it the first round, but then it's like, wait, no, that's not the first round. That's a play into the tournament. It kind of becomes a nightmare. But to your point,
that's why. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's why when it happened. When they went to 68 and called it the first four, and wait a minute, we got a Final Four that's 4 teams. Now we have a first four that's 8 teams in 4 games. Like, when is this going to make any sense? Because they didn't want you to call it a play-in game. But in every bracket challenge, none of the Dayton games count in that challenge.
It's so annoying.
And they think that people don't know that the tournament really starts on the first Thursday when we get to the 64-team field.
Yeah,
that's when the tournament really starts. And one of my colleagues, Reese Davis, that you guys know really well, Reese used to say, quit saying not everybody gets in the tournament. Everybody's in the tournament because you get to play in your conference tournament. If you don't win that, then you're in the pool with everybody else. So you had the same chance to get in the tournament as everybody else in your conference tournament. So and his thing was like, stop complaining that you didn't have a chance. You had the regular season, then you had your conference tournament. If you didn't make it then, who do we blame for that? Maybe you.
Yeah, it's perfect. They figured it out, and now I'm watching the Patriot League Conference Tournament because, hey, technically, Lehigh has a chance. Will they do it without CJ McCollum?
Well, and that's what makes those conference tournaments so excellent.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
because there is always the surprise team
that's my main point too. Is you're either gonna dilute championship week, you're gonna force all the small conferences to play each other in play-ins, and these mediocre big conference schools are gonna get in. But I guess we just have to accept it.
Yes.
Not going to like it though. At first. Well, I'm old enough to not like things at first, Sean.
Well, and also we're old enough. Sometimes we're right. Sometimes we're wrong. Jay, we were skeptical when you gave out your bracket of Final Four, all number 1 seeds. We were skeptical that all number 1 seeds came in, but they did. Why do you think last year's tournament, was it something in the air that they were chalky, or just it was just the dominant teams were more dominant than years previous? What do you think got us to that chalky Final Four that you correctly predict?
I think it was a year where the top 4 teams were just a little bit better than everybody else.
Yeah.
And, people do it differently, and I don't really care to make picks, but it's part of the job now. So you better get used to it. And I've been used to it for a while. So I'm cool with it, and I'm cool with the criticism. It's fine. But I've only picked all 4 number 1 seeds twice. I did it in 2002, I think it was, and all 4 made it. Or excuse me, 2008. It was 2008 and all 4 made it. And I did it this year and all 4 made it.
Yes.
It's the only time that's ever happened. But I look at the bracket and I look at each region and go, okay, who's got the best chance of winning this thing? And sometimes, like, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I thought UConn, they weren't the number 1 seed, but like they're playing the best.
Yeah.
And they wound up winning the thing. And so I took all 4, and I realized it's a flyer, but it's a flyer when you take 2 number 2s and a number 3 and 1 number 1.
Yeah.
The whole thing's a flyer in that regard. But it's funny, like the narrative after this tournament or during the tournament was, well, NIL has ruined everything. The blue bloods are going to win and the little guy has no chance because we didn't have quite as many upsets as we were used to. But I remember 2 years ago when Florida Atlantic and San Diego State made the Final Four, and the narrative is, well, NIL has made the world flat. Like the big guys aren't going to dominate anymore.
No, yeah,
you know, it's one data point does not make a trend. We haven't seen a trend where the big shots win every time. They win more often than anybody else now. We can't pretend like it's equal across the board, because it's not. You know, the big shots are going to win more often. But and we haven't had a mid-major, sneak through and win the whole thing yet, even though Gonzaga's come close. Wichita State's had some good teams and all that. And Florida Atlantic, San Diego State had an opportunity to do it. We haven't had anybody win it yet. It's still the Power Five that's kind of dominating things. And NIL is going to spread talent out more, and has, in my view. I don't think we have enough data to make a conclusive determination there. But I do think, and certainly among the Power Five schools, talent is spread out more. It's not concentrated as much as it was 5 years ago.
I think it's the variance. I think you have the variance for the top kid to just decide he's going to go to whatever that local school that decides to pony up that time. So I'm with you. I got to ask though, I see in the X Twitter profile, no tipping. Is that related to people trying to give you a tip after you nailed the Final Four this year?
No, I didn't even know it said that anymore. But maybe, yeah. No, it has nothing to do with that. Although when my picks have done well, people do. It's not a lot, but people will send me a check.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've gotten some of those. I got one this year. I got cash this year, but there was no return. It wasn't that much money, but there was no return address on it, so I couldn't send it back.
That's excellent.
Okay, well,
Ryan, someone who's in that industry, generally it's people telling us "fuck you," not "thank you" with money. So, you're doing a great job, Jay.
Well, and also too, I know Jay's a humble guy. If you want to send Jay money, he's going to return it. If you actually wanted to get somewhere, we will accept all of Jay Bilas's tips or money that you plan on sending.
Yeah, we'll bet on the next year's bracket.
Yeah, we're happy to.
You guys can split a latte with the money I get.
Excellent.
One quick or real quick, just getting your thoughts, and we'll get you out of here. Appreciate the time, Jay, as always. NBA draft. You're going to be covering the NBA draft for ESPN. A very, very fun draft. It seems like Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey. It seems like locked in 1, 2, 3. Any surprises up top, and maybe any sleepers for the NBA draft?
The one guy that I think could move up into that top 3, depending on how teams view it, is VJ Edgecombe. Baylor. I rate him really high because he reminds me a lot of Victor Oladipo and Dwayne Wade when they were young. Not like when you say that, people go, "Oh, Miami Heat, Dwayne Wade." No, I'm talking about when he was 18. They compare really favorably. And Edgecombe is super athletic. He's long. He's a two-way player. He defends at a high level, and I think he's going to be able to score. But that athleticism and length, he fits the suit in the NBA. And as he continues to mature, I think he's got a chance to be a big-time player. But I agree with you. I think 1 and 2 are pretty locked up. San Antonio needs shooting, and I'm not sure Dylan Harper brings that, but he's the best player at that slot. He's a little bit like some of the players they have already, but they need a big guy to go alongside Victor Wembanyama, and they need shooting. But if you're picking it too, unless they can package 2 and 14 or something like that into a trade, I think they're going to take Harper.
Yeah, it does seem like that's going that way, Jay. And also, I know you're playing in the American Century Championship. You got to going head to head against Barkley, Steph Curry. How we feeling? How's the golf game? You got to beat Barkley. That's always the goal, right?
Well, it's not really a goal because it happens every year.
Yeah, I guess
everybody beats Barkley.
Poor guy.
But yeah, it's an unbelievable amount of fun. And I don't know what it's like to receive an invitation to the Masters, but when you get the call from the American Century Championship, I can't imagine it feels any different. I know people, I'm one of those that sits by the phone, with my fingers crossed, hoping I can go back because it's so much fun. It's such a great setting for a golf tournament, and the American Century people are the nicest people you've ever met. Jonathan Thomas is their CEO, and what a great leader he is. But they're so welcoming, and then you got this really cool golf tournament. Then you get to the 17th hole. It's a frat party.
Yeah,
like all these boats. Everybody's had a few too many, and I would like to join them, especially after some of the shots I hit there. But it's the coolest tournament, and I mean, you got a number of great golfers that can really play, and then the rest of us that are out there to do the best we can and try not to hosel rocket one at a fan.
That's the fear. I can tell you. I could only imagine, like, if there's a landscaper or a greenskeeper too close, it's like I don't feel good about swinging right now.
Yeah,
they line them up so close.
I've not hit anybody yet.
But
last year on the 6th hole, it's a par 3, and I hit one. It hit the back of the green and just kind of rolled off. And when I went back there was a bear there.
Really?
Yeah, a bear and 2 cubs. And so I got to go back and make a relatively delicate chip shot with one eye on a black bear. And so I thought I earned my stripes there by sacking up and hitting that shot with a bear like 25 feet from me.
Well, that is terrifying when there's a predator behind you, but you do want to hit the golf shot.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get scared. We get coyotes out here in LA, so a little coyote, but they always say, like, don't get between a mom and her cubs. But they don't say unless you're playing in the American Century Championship and you got a chip.
You don't take a penalty.
Yeah, you don't want to.
Pace of play is really important, so they don't really care whether there's a man. Bear
sorry, there's a bear. You got to keep moving along.
Keep up
here
with the group in front of you. We got to get this on.
Ray Romano's dying to get to the next hole. Well, Jay, appreciate it as always. Good luck with the draft. Good luck with the American Century Championship, and we'll be rooting for you. Thanks, man.
Thank
appreciate
you, guys. Appreciate being with you.
Yep. Take. And of course, big thanks to Jay Bilas, but of course, the ultimate fantasy football draft experience at Circa Las Vegas. Circa is awesome. If you haven't been to Circa, what are you waiting for? And they're giving away a ultimate fantasy football draft experience. You could win a giant draft party, not only for you, but 11 of your friends, aka and maybe enemies, depending on what kind of league you're running. But you and 11 of your league mates, you get the Legacy Club welcome party, 5K tab at Stadium Swim. And they just have you covered top to bottom. It's an awesome trip, awesome venue, awesome space. And whenever you're over at Circa, you can use the promo code SGP15, get you 50% off all the Circa properties, but enter the ultimate fantasy football contest for free at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Circa. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Circa. And of course, shout out to Rhythm. Love Rhythm. Been very helpful getting some AI backed picks and props for the NBA playoffs and obviously the NBA finals as well. They just introduced their new Power Trends feature, which is really cool. Love me some Power Trends. You can get the 7-day free trial sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. But the AI, it's doing all the heavy lifting. Everyone's worried, AI taking our jobs, but AI is just killing it when it comes to these Power Trends. They like TJ McConnell over 3.5 assists. You can get that at +100. That is an official Power Trend. Get your 7-day free trial today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And sorry, that was 3.5 assists. They also like his rebounds at 2.5. So get in on the TJ McConnell props. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Last but not least, you're home for the NBA finals, mybookie.ag and the Stanley Cup final. Now remember, Stanley Cup final, not no S there. NBA finals, there is an S. We got Oklahoma City, Indiana Pacers, and of course a nice deposit bonus. As always, 100% match up to $1,000. MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Kramer, good times chatting it up with our boy Jay Bilas. A lot of fun.
Very fun.
Yeah,
I thought Jay was excellent. Not decent, excellent.
And I see Dirty Krusty in the chat saying we got to let Colby speak to Jay Bilas. Oh, he gets angry about advancing the ball. There's
a reason Colby wasn't on this interview.
Good times as always. Now let's
the stipulation from Mr. Bilas.
Let's talk a little more NBA Finals with our buddies who host the NBA Gambling Podcast and WNBA Gambling Podcast, and that is Terrell Furman and Scott Reichel hopping on here talking NBA Finals.
They're here. Okay. I promise.
Scott, what's happening? Thanks for hopping on the line. How are we feeling?
Feel pretty good. I'm going to be up for another like 8 hours, so I can't complain. How's it going with you guys?
Yeah, this is 8:00 East. Scott is just waking up. He's going to handicap tennis, watch baseball. He's got a jam-packed night.
Like 6:30 a.m. for most people.
Yeah, he just got his morning cup of coffee. Terrell, we got to get your reaction to Tom Thibodeau being fired. First coach in 25 years takes the Knicks to the Eastern Conference Finals. They let him walk. What's your take?
You're muted, Terrell.
Did he take the Knicks to the Eastern Conference Finals? Did that happen? Or was he the guy that was just piloting? Well, I wouldn't even say piloting, but you know how the captain kind of stands in front of the boat and just watches the water, but he's not actually driving the boat. Like, how are you talking to the captain, but the boat is moving because the captain is not driving the boat? Tibbs wasn't driving the boat on this Eastern Conference Finals run. In fact, he was actually sinking it. Yes. Great hire. Great move. Great move. I think that it was a great decision. I think the only people that don't like the decision are probably, I'm sorry, but older than 40. Like all of the old people that like that old style of basketball where the league
We're right here, Terrell.
Like those are the people that feel like that Tibbs should still be the head coach. Nobody cares. The league is going a completely different direction than Tibbs was, and they knew in the beginning of the season this was only temporary. Yes, he needed to go. They need something different.
So who do you now? This is interesting because I feel like it's been kind of split. I think there are some people like Terrell that just were worn out on Thibodeau, him playing the guys all those
campaign started the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I know. Well, did they take away Campaign's street sign? I know they had named a street after him.
I might have made a trip up to New York to make sure that it was taken down myself.
That'd be a nice thing on the wall, you know.
Oh, that would be
I
fun.
burned it.
Yeah. Terrell totally wrong. But Terrell, I think with all these questions, it's who is he replaced by? Now, if he's replaced by Bobby Hurley, Kramer and I were talking about that. I mean, Bobby Hurley versus the New York media, someone who's in content. I am rooting for that. But I think you want Mark Jackson. Like who do you think is going to end up now? Jay Wright. Okay, then maybe you're talking about an upgrade. But who do you want, and who do you think the Knicks will hire?
It's not going to be Jay Wright. It's not going to be Rick Pitino has been thrown out there, just so you guys know. Rick Pitino's name has been thrown out there. This is ridiculous. The names that have been thrown out as potential candidates is actually jarring. Stephen A. Smith has been named, and it wasn't even by Sentinel. Like it wasn't just Sentinel. These are actual people that said Stephen A. Smith.
I did see his name was listed. There were odds
60-1.
Yeah, near the equator put out some numbers about Knicks head coach. So Stephen A. Smith. Okay, you want him? All right.
Yeah. Taylor Jenkins. That's the name that I throw out there. That I think, hey, you've seen him compete with this NBA and be successful with the Memphis Grizzlies. Now maybe we need to have a probe and figure out, hey, what happened that you fired your coach 10 games before the playoffs? Because that was very, very alarming. But if everything checks out there and Taylor Jenkins is still a really good head coach, he believes in the youth movement. We see it with that young Memphis team that he was rolling out there and playing 10 deep. He was playing 10 deep, and that's what the Knicks needed in those playoffs. I think Taylor Jenkins would be a great hire.
He wasn't into guns. I think that's what. Yeah.
Well,
I think they didn't like he was anti-gun, and the team had to be kind of pro-gun.
It's tough to be an NBA head coach because I think part of it was he didn't get along with Karl Anthony Towns, and the players have a lot of say there. Scott, real quick, rapid fire. What's your take on the Knicks firing Tom Thibodeau?
I was fine with it. I was shocked they actually did it. That's where I was at for this one. I thought the Knicks would run it back after Brunson in the post-game press conference after elimination said, "Oh no, I got faith in our guys." I thought they were just going to keep it. I did not think they would end up rocking the boat this quickly. I'm fine with it. I've always been a believer that Thibodeau is a floor raiser whose ceiling I'd say is lower than other elite coaches. I'll put it that way. I think the Knicks were never going to win a title with Thibodeau anyway. So if that's the expectation, then I can understand why they made the switch. Are they going to win a title if Malone's the new head coach or Jenkins? Probably not, but I do think there's a possibility. I just find Thibodeau's offense a bit too antiquated. His substitution patterns are questionable, mainly because he doesn't actually substitute anybody half the time.
Yeah.
I do think there are some limitations, and as Terrell was saying, that maybe it is a certain way the NBA is pivoting. It's pivoting more towards offense. I think Thibodeau's offenses are not good enough to actually get you in the inner circle of title contention. I understand why they made the move. Do I think that's going to change for the Anunoby contract and the Cat contracts? Probably not. They also have to pay Bridges next year a bunch of money. So I'm not saying this team's going to be winning a title anytime soon, but I do think the Thibodeau ceiling was kind of this, making a, if you want to use the term fluky conference finals run, you can, but making a pretty deep run, never really threatening to win the title. And you'd kind of hope that at some point it would break correctly for you. I don't think it was ever going to with Thibodeau as the coach. I think even if the Knicks did win that series against Indiana, I think Kramer would agree the Thunder probably killed that team. He wouldn't admit it on the show, but I think he'd agree with me. The Thunder would probably kill that team. I can understand why they made the move. If you wanted my pick on who gets the job, I'll go with Malone because of the rings. I think Dolan will definitely follow that instead. I like Jenkins as a coach, so I do think he'd be a good hire too. I'll go with Malone because he has the title experience there, and New York's going to pay him a lot of money to go there. But I can understand why they made the move. I'm shocked they did it, but in a way I respect it. That's kind of how I look at it.
Kramer?
Right. Well, so I'm far more well-read on this topic than most NBA topics. And I'm a little shocked I didn't hear a name from either of our friends here. Inside basketball name, Johnny Bryant. Assistant.
He just took he didn't just take the Suns job?
Well, he did he? He's last he was employed by the Cavs as an assistant, but he was an assistant head coach for the Knicks for a number of years.
Yes. Well, Tufts. It seems like it is leaning towards Bryant, but
what about Jalen Brunson's dad, Rick Brunson?
Rick Brunson? Where's he coaching right now?
No idea. Okay, doesn't matter. He's an assistant.
All right. Where's he assistant at?
For the Knicks.
Oh, and they just promote Jalen Brunson's dad? All right, that seems unlikely. Terrell's not buying it. All right, let's.
Johnny Bryant. I thought he took the Suns job already, but he's seems also like it's close. He's in the finals for the Suns job, and I think that it would be on the Knicks to swoop in and steal him off of that.
Could that be why they acted swiftly with Thibodeau?
No, they did that because Thibodeau was incompetent.
I'm just wondering if you're the Knicks though, and you have, of course, a lot of expectations, and of course you're definitely talked about more than most teams. Do you think they would go for the, I'd say, unknown hire, the in-house promotion? I don't think so. They seem like more of a splash hire team. And that's kind of why I keep going back to Malone, because at least he's proven before he can win a title. You can question how much that was Jokic and how much that was Murray and how much that was actually him. But I don't see them promoting in-house. The Knicks always want to make the blockbuster move. I think it will be a guy with a proven resume as opposed to a hotshot assistant coach.
Yeah, they mentioned in the announcement that their goal is to win the championship, and we didn't get that done. The fact that they mentioned championship is one of the reasons they fired him. You can't not bring in a guy who hasn't won a championship if you're going to make that a thing when you fire him. So I think it's Malone's job.
Wasn't he a hard ass? Wasn't that the problem?
So is Thibodeau.
Isn't that?
So
Yeah,
the problem with Malone was
remember.
that the youth movement, like they wanted to go younger and stop.
Yeah.
Malone was like, no, Russ is this veteran and all that. Like, no, they wanted to buy into the youth movement. So that's the only reason I said if the youth movement is what you're thinking, that's the same thing Tibbs was on, and that's why you ultimately gave Tibbs out the door, because he could have played other guys and got a younger team and started trying to develop players and build a bench like that. So only person that I trust right now, and so far hasn't let me down all the way, is Leon Rose, because so far none of the moves that he has made has actually truly backfired. Maybe the Anunoby contract and the Cat contract is a thing, but right now the team got to the Eastern Conference Finals. So far, Brunson was a good move, and everybody told me that was a horrible thing when they did it. They told me that Bridges was horrible. They told me the Cat move was horrible, and the team got to the Eastern Conference Finals. So if Leon Rose says, hey, it's time to move on, then I'm all right. I give him the credit because so far he hasn't let me down. And he's the only GM that has told James Dolan, shut up, don't make noise. I am taking over everything. Nobody else has been able to do that. And so since he was able to do that, I rock with Leon Rose right now.
Sam Cassell. Any chance they hire Sam Cassell?
Let's talk NBA Finals. That's what we're here to break down. They tip off Thursday night. Pacers catching 2.5 games in the series plus 530. Total number of games for the series sitting at 5.5. Scott, we'll start with you. What do you like in this series? How do you see it shaping up?
Yeah, so I picked the Pacers to beat the Knicks in the last round, even though they were a dog. So I did kind of change my stance on the Pacers. I was kind of bullish on them. Having said that, I picked the Thunder before the playoffs started, and they have done nothing to really disappoint me. They had one scare, though, against Denver, and then they responded by winning Game 7 by about 30 points, and they destroyed Minnesota. I'm going Thunder pretty convincingly. They're massive favorites. I think they're like tied for the 5th biggest favorite of all time in the NBA Finals. And I really can't disagree with it. I think Indiana is definitely a fun team. I'm happy we got this matchup because I do think that it's going to result in good basketball. But I have a hard time trusting Indiana's offense against this defense. I do think Halliburton, as good as he is, can still be very passive when it comes to looking for his own shot. I looked at his props before the series. His series points per game average is over under 17.5. If your best player is going to average less than 18 points per game in a series against an elite defense, you're not winning. That's kind of how I go about it. I think that the Thunder win the series pretty comfortably. They're incredible at home. I think it's a pretty bad matchup for Indiana because of how much switchability the Thunder can use defensively. And I just question if Indiana's elite top-tier talent, Siakam, I think can have a solid series offensively, averaging 20 plus. Halliburton, though, has to deal with Dort. He has to deal with Caruso, Jalen Williams. They have a bunch of guys they can switch on to him. And we know that he can be very passive when it comes to looking for his own shot. So based on that, I'm going to go with the Thunder in 5. I think the Pacers win a home game. Thunder are too good at home. And I think the Thunder eventually win this series pretty convincingly. Give me the Thunder in 5 games.
Thunder in 5 games. All right. So you think the
which,
the
by the
Pacers
way,
get 1.
All the people that tagged me in the Halliburton thinking he was going to be the MVP, that was really
that was
really mean.
I mean,
that was really mean.
Not that
he's totally a superstar.
Siakam had a good series, but Halliburton definitely should have won Eastern Conference Finals MVP. I mean, you hit that shot that sends it to overtime in game 1, and then you have a triple double without turning the ball over. Like, those 2 games were the difference makers in the series. You're shaking your head. You thought Terrell, that's Siakam should have won Eastern Conference Finals MVP?
Yeah, I did. I thought Pascal Siakam was the X factor. His playing well. Halliburton could have did anything he wanted to do all day. He could have had a 30-point triple double all game. But if Pascal Siakam didn't have his big games in that series, they lose. Like, they needed. Like, I think Pascal Siakam could have won that without Tyrese Halliburton. But I don't think Tyrese Halliburton could have won without Pascal Siakam. That's why I thought Pascal Siakam rightfully won MVP. And I mean, Tyrese Halliburton he just knew he won. You know, when you come from the back, You come from the back and you position yourself in the front when you think you're getting an award because you're like, yeah, I just want to be there. I don't want to take up too much time. Yes, he knew he won. And that's the sole bright spot of that whole run is the fact that I got to watch him have that moment.
For the record, by the way, Siakam did have 39 in game 2. He was a big reason why they won game 2, so I'll throw that out there. It was 5-4. It was very close. Halliburton had an all-time great game. The problem was the game after, you didn't notice him because he had single-digit points. So I feel like if you're going for consistency, I thought Siakam was the more consistent guy over the course of the series. Halliburton, of course, is the main engine of the offense. You could argue that importance would automatically favor the star player on the team. Siakam winning didn't bother me as much because look at his numbers. Siakam was actually really good. It wasn't like he was that much worse than Halliburton. I was fine with it. I would have given it to Halliburton, but I had no issues with Siakam winning. I was fine with it.
Well, yeah, and especially I think in the games they won, Siakam played, or Halliburton outplayed Siakam. Terrell, what do you like for this series? What are you doing? Thunder, right? No way the Pacers win this thing.
Nah, they don't have the defense, I don't think, man. I think that OKC can win this a multitude of ways, whether they play slow and play either half court or they play the Pacers game. I think that they have the Pacers game. Like, this is a better version of the Pacers, the Oklahoma City Thunder. This defense that there's no holes, there's nowhere to poke at. Like, I think it's really crazy that they can play 10 deep efficiently. And in the playoffs, in the finals, and be at to this point and be this good. And then, I mean, all the issues you had with Jalen Brunson, I'm supposed to believe that you were crying because Jalen Brunson got fouls, and now you're about to play SGA. SGA is about to walk into 30 every game. Every game.
It is crazy. Like his like a point average for the series, they have it like 33.5 or something crazy. So you have, what are you going to do, Terrell? Thunder in 5, Thunder in 6, 7.
I think it's the Thunder in 5. I think that you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder and what they've done over the course of the playoffs, and they are winless ATS on the road. That's not somebody that you want to trust to go ahead and get the sweep done. And so if they're up 2-0, I have that fear that it's going to be like the last series, that Minnesota game where they just completely laid down and didn't care, and then they went and won game 4. If they're up 3-0, I still have that fear in a game 4 that they're just going to lay down because they feel so confident and they can go win it in OKC. So whether they're up 2-0 or 3-0, I just don't feel confident in OKC and being 100% locked into the game there. So for a team that is winless ATS, I don't think they're going to get it done in 4. I like them in 5.
Kramer.
Well, congratulations to the Pacers and the Thunder. A lot of people have seen those great cities through the small, tiny windows on airplanes. The ratings don't matter anymore, according to the internet backlash. People from Indiana have explained to me why ratings don't matter anymore because of streaming and the internet.
Yep.
So thank you for the explanation there. And lastly, I think my opinion and take on Halliburton was completely correct and agreed upon by the people who vote for the MVP trophy. And it sounds also like Terrell. OKC in 5. Now, what I really wanted to bet on, I couldn't find this market, was OKC to be leading 3-1. Which I typically they have that market, and maybe I just scrolled by it. I did some shopping earlier while I was hungry. Ended up walking away with a first basket too. Are you playing first basket for game 1?
No.
Why?
But I do have some crazy stuff. So
do you want to? My first basket is Siakam in honor of his MVP.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What do you got that at?
8-1.
Siakam first basket game 1, 8-1. All right.
And I'm gonna find eventually OKC to hold a 3-1 series lead.
My
plus 155, I believe.
Okay. Boom.
My favorite bet for the series.
I just need to find.
Give me the Pacers plus 2.5 games.
What?
Yes.
Crazy.
No, it's not. I mean, the price isn't that crazy. It's a little bit of a dog, but I think they're going to be able to hang around. I think they could catch OKC sleeping in game 1. If you remember, the only home game the Thunder lost was after that long rest, and they lost to the Nuggets there at home in that series. And I think this long rest will end up hurting the Thunder. I think their defense will be able to figure out the Pacers for game 2, but I think game 1. the Pacers are a tough out, and you saw it with what they did to the Knicks. I think it's going to be a competitive series. I think the Pacers get at least 2. If I had to choose, I'll probably say Thunder in 6, but my favorite play is Indiana Pacers plus 2.5 games. I think they're live in that first game. Now I know historically, if you go NBA, only 2 teams who have won the last 50 years is 2 or more as at plus 200 or more underdogs. Obviously that's crazy.
This has kind of been a crazy year,
but yeah, and Oklahoma City has not covered on the road yet. They're 0-7 ATS. So I think the Pacers can win 1 game at home, and I think they have a good chance to steal game 1.
They will be favored in Indy.
Yeah. Well, and like
they can win and not cover as well.
Is that a fact? Is that a fact?
No, they are not going to be favored in Indy.
Minnesota was dogs at home in game 3 and game 4. I'm not sure Indiana is favored in that.
OKC's never been a dog the whole playoffs. It's
that's what Kramer was saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. OKC will be
that
favored.
They could win.
Okay. I'm just pointing out that his ATS thing was more about.
I think they'll be. Yeah, I think
they can win and not cover on.
I would say,
like they have in the past in this postseason.
Okay, yeah, I thought you meant Indiana was going to be favored at home, and that's
we definitely both. Hey, look at us reading that wrong.
It was like two dogs. I got a little too close to the property. Let me know where the border is.
Game 1 though, yeah, give me Indiana plus 9.5, and of course prop. I gotta stick to the well. Give me TJ McConnell. Over 5.5 rebounds and assists. That thing has been great to me, but I think they're going to surprise this Thunder team just enough. I think they're a little live on the money line, and I think they get off to a good start. And then Oklahoma City's defense adjusts. I don't see how Oklahoma City doesn't destroy them game 2, kind of regardless of game 1. Scott, game 1, what do you like for the spread, total, side, props? What are we doing?
Yeah, I'll start off with the side. I am going to go with the Thunder. I kind of have to. You're looking at the numbers so far in this postseason. Do you want to guess which NBA team has the highest home point differential in the history of the NBA playoffs in a single run?
Pacers?
Not quite. No, it's the Thunder for this one. I believe their average win margin's like 23 points per game or something. Like, it's an insane record at home. The crowd atmosphere is insane. I do find it pretty fitting, though, that out of all the teams that lost at home this postseason, the 2 best home court advantages in the postseason so far are in the finals, which tells you that defending home court still matters. The Thunder lost 1 home game. It was pretty fluky. They were up 9 with 3 to go, fell apart. The crowd is just crazy. Terrell's going to mention the opponent team total stuff in a second, I'm sure. Point is, though, it's tough to score in this building. It really is. I got to go with the Thunder. I think defensively they're going to smother this team. And I really meant what I said about Halliburton. I think Halliburton's a very solid player. The problem is he's still very passive. He is still a pass-first guard. And we saw that in the last series. He had the monster 30-plus point triple-double. And the next game, he forgot how to be aggressive and did nothing the entire game. He prefers to get his teammates involved. And when you have Dort, you have Caruso, you have elite defenders hounding you, I'm concerned Halliburton's going to struggle a lot, especially in game 1. And if he does, they can't win. So give me the Thunder. I think they win this game by 12 plus.
Oh yeah.
Kramer, it sounds like you want to jump in. Yeah. What do you like for game 1?
Lay it.
Okay.
If you if you're looking to do some ladder, by the way, I saw a pickup truck with like 8 ladders bungee cord together.
Yeah, how do you not think of CJ?
They were all going down together. But if you do want to play an alt number,
I do like
blowout is in order here. Right?
Yeah, I do like Lou Dort at home, his over points prop, and then fading him on the road. Although they moved it from 7.5 to 8.5, probably still good play on the over. Terrell, what are you doing? You laying? You going along with the chalk here? Oklahoma City minus 9.5, game 1.
Yeah, man, this has been chalk hits. I think there is a demographic of people who are betting the Pacers in game 1 on the money line. And Sean, I'm sorry, but you align with that demographic of degens that would love a bet like that in a finals championship type of atmosphere. And I think they're going to get y'all, man. I really do. I think this is OKC all the way. I think that The difference here for the Pacers is that they're going to be so used to getting open looks at the basket and being able to actually see it. And I'm not sure they're going to be able to see the basket this game. I'm not even sure they're going to know what the basket even looks like. Like OKC is going to be in front on them, pressing them the entire game. And it's going to make them really, really uncomfortable. I think turnovers are going to be really big for them. OKC is going to run away with this one.
Kramer. You gave out your, you gave out your game one. Everyone, I'm on Pacers Island here, catching the 9.5. Why don't we do?
Well, I'm also on OKC minus 16.5.
As an alt line
plus 210.
Okay, well, good. Now we'll do a lock, dog, and prop. Do you want to make OKC minus 16.5 your dog for game one?
No.
Okay.
No, I do not.
What do you lock, dog, and prop? What are you doing?
Lock OKC to have a 3-1 lead plus 155.
Okay.
I really was trying to figure out what I could parlay Thunder money line with to keep my dub club a bit going, but I couldn't.
Yes,
I had nothing to pair it with. For the actually, maybe you're right. Maybe I should use the OKC minus 16.5 as my dog game one alt number.
Okay.
And then for the prop, I'll go first bucket. I'm playing first bucket for every game. Maybe I'll just commit to Siakam every game. I'm playing his first basket.
I like him and he's playing well. I think
this is like picking a number in Keno. You don't want to move or roulette. You don't want to move it around. Just stick to it. So Siakam all 7 games or how many games happen. First basket.
For my lock, give me the Pacers plus 2.5 games. For my dog, look out. It's a big dog. What if I told you Tyrese Halliburton have the most points? 60-1. Don't let him get hot. The one weakness, he is the favorite for most threes made in the series, and yet he's 60-1 for the most points. All he needs to do is get hot from behind the arc. Watch out. So that's a fun, crazy bet. And then TJ McConnell over 5.5 rebounds and assists. That is the gift that keeps on giving. Scott, what do you like? Lock, dog, and prop for game one, the series, however you want to do it.
Yeah, so I already got my dog. I'm trying to wonder what I want to go with for my lock because I'm gonna do a parlay for my dog here. For the lock, I think I'm gonna go with a pretty obscure play, but I do like it, at least based on the playing time he actually gets. I'm wondering if I want to go for Cason Wallace under on his rebounds, or if I want to go for Isaiah Hartenstein first quarter points. Because I'm actually kind of tempted by
this is what Scott does, man. Like,
I just look at the most degen props possible, trying to find an edge here. I'm gonna go for it,
but they be hitting, and that's where I be like, bro, I can't say nothing, like because they hit.
No, Scott dives deep.
Yeah, I'll go with Hartenstein over 1.5 first quarter points as my lock at minus 120.
I love that.
It's an insanely low number. We know Turner's probably going to be forced to switch out. Of course, he tries to block every shot, so he leaves a lot of offensive rebound real estate available. But Hartenstein's been good, at least getting to 2 points in the first quarter. He's had at least 2 points in the first quarter in 7 of the last 8 against Indiana. He's had at least 2 points in the first quarter in 8 of the last 10 games. Minus 120 for a starting center. I understand he might play a little bit less minutes than usual because they've been using Caruso a bit more. But I do think Hartenstein can do enough either on the offensive glass. He has the float game, which he also uses. And I know that Kramer's been betting him a lot for first basket because they try to get him the ball early just to get him, I'd say, focused, to try to get him an easy touch. I think 1.5 points is pretty low for a guy that's going to play at least probably 7 minutes in the first quarter. I'll go with that as my lock there. A play you probably won't hear anywhere else. I'll give me Hartenstein first quarter over 1.5 points as my lock. For my dog, I'm going to go with the classic parlay. Give me the Thunder to cover the 9.5 and Shai 30+ points. And you can find that at plus 156.
Okay. 30 SGA points.
Classic Scott.
That is, I mean, again, if you like OKC, that feels like a good formula. And then what about for a prop? What's a prop here?
Okay, so for this one, I'll go with the series prop here. And does it have to be plus money, or this could be anything?
Yeah, it can be anything.
Minus 750 works, Scott.
Minus 7. I'm going to save that for your dub club, so you're going to have to pay extra for that. I do think for this one, though, I was wondering if I wanted to go for the series spread, because you can get the Thunder minus 2.5 at minus 140. I'll just take that. Give me the Thunder minus 2.5 games. I'll go head to head with Sean here. I just think the Thunder are too good for this team. So I think they'll win in either 4.
Don't like being on the opposite side of Scott.
That's got to feel really bad.
Terrell, lock, dog, and prop. What are you doing?
Lock. Ooh. Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me? Test. All right, go. Test.
Yeah, we got you.
All right. I feel like I can't hear myself. But
you're coming. Yeah, there you go. You're good now. You're good now.
All right. So, lock going with the Pacers team total under 110.5. OKC has held their opponents under their team total in 8 of the 9 home games they've had over the course of these playoffs. They have not let teams get even to 100 points in some of these games. And I think that the Pacers are going to be very, 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 very sad to see the torture chamber when he's switching on to Tyrese Halliburton, then he's on Nesmith, then he's on Nembhard. Like, the torture chamber is just going to be coming and taking heads all game. So, yeah, I'm all over the Pacers under their team total, under 110.5. That's my lock. Dog, gonna go, give me OKC minus 17.5.
Oh, wow. You had to go 1 point higher than Kramer. I like that.
Yeah, like, what? Gotta make sure I get the win.
I like that. That's well played.
What's a prop you like, Terrell?
And my prop, I will take OKC to win game 1, OKC to win game 2, the Pacers to win game 3, OKC to win game 4, and OKC to win game 5 at 6-1.
Wow.
Exacta.
Okay, so just basically like Indiana to win game 3, right?
Yeah,
yes.
And lose.
Yes.
And that's
very
it.
Fun. Very
that's
fun.
it.
I mean, the exact formula stuff
very
is
fun.
Crazy.
Whoa.
Good times, as always. Make sure you check out Terrell Furman and Scott Reichel on the NBA Gambling Podcast and WNBA Gambling Podcast. If you're looking for some extra action,
they don't need a disaster relief roster spot.
Oh, you're referring to the Indiana Fever. So many injuries, they had to pull a disaster.
Pull those resources.
You got the
from
sandbags to try and save.
By
the
way,
Fever. Yeah,
I just would like to say, I am now I am even more convinced that Ryan is following WNBA.
Oh, he's
I think we have to force you two to make some picks here.
No, honestly, it's been on God's eye way more than I would care to admit. So I'm in. Ever since I got off the Angel Reese train into Caitlin Clark's side of the, and it caused her to get injured. So
yeah, you really jinxed her.
Wow.
Maybe the reason
you became a Caitlin Clark fan and now she's out. You caused her. My lock is whatever they're giving out in the WNBA Gambling Podcast. Check out those guys. Get in on the Stanley Cup contest. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/Stanley Cup. Get your free Refs or Terrorists t-shirt. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/refs. Big shout out to Ryan Gilbert of the Hockey Gambling Podcast, Jay Bilas, ESPN, and of course Scott Reichel, Terrell Furman, and you.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
Best of luck to the flyover cities.
Kramer, let it ride.